So APLD is on fire, and we got a 50% move, and it's up just 37% today. And we're also just wrapping up our daily live trading session in Stockmates. We're up about $167 on that position. And if you've ever been thinking of joining our daily live trading sessions Monday through Friday at market open, this is your chance. Lifetime access is still available. So if you don't want to pay monthly, it's the second link in the description to lock in your spot for Stockmate before that goes away. Now, let's break down APLD. So we were able to catch a 45% swing here on APLD stock. One of our better trades as of recently. It's up there with our Black Sky, Rigetti, and AMD trades over the last few months. And as you can see, yesterday we were covering it, and I could just give you the breakdown, but basically they reported earnings yesterday. I did a video on it. I can kind of show you what we are identifying here. We're looking for this trade. I'll actually just play a little clip from yesterday's video. We're going to be watching APLD at that $11.40 range. And we're looking for that 20% increase, potentially up here. I wish I could pull up the video yesterday because we were like so on this level yesterday. We said, this is what we're looking for, this 15% swing. And it's exactly what it did yesterday. So beautiful, beautiful. Okay, now why was today a roller coaster day? I see the comments, someone's like, yes, up and down, you got the Fed cuts. People are like, it's not just you. All right, this is a great place for it to be. For example, even if it's up 15%, to look for new trades. Why? Because how many of you guys ever look at something at the top and you're like, oh, I don't want to buy the top? Well, it's okay if you buy the top. Let me tell you, it's all right if you buy the top. It's all right if you buy the bottom. It's all right if you buy the middle, as long as you have a what? It's the most important thing to have in all of your investing, and it's called a plan. It's your risk management. So would we got this resistance level now potentially acting as a support around $11.40? Kind of a good key to below that, maybe set a stop, but we're going to be looking for a move here, another 20% swing up into that level for APLD. That's the bullish outlook if we can see market sentiment continue. So not only did we see it make that move yesterday, but it was right here at this top, and we were saying it's at $11.50 support. It could be the top. It doesn't matter though. This is what it's targeting, this $14 range, and that 20% increase is exactly what we saw as the market opened today. We got into the pre-market and into market open as it surged to $14. Now, why did APLD surge to $14? What's been driving the stock price? Well, one thing to consider that most investors might have missed around the APLD play is, yes, there is institutional holders. That's definitely something we're watching. But what we're watching really is that their data centers that they build, they are different by design. They're focusing on the payloads like this. And why is that good? It attracted a deal. So they focus on like wind turbines, solar, hydroelectric. It attracted a deal so that they're building the data center with CoreWeave. Now, according to some reports, that $7 billion deal for building data centers with CoreWeave, most likely made up of supermicrocomputer, NVIDIA GPUs, Dell, Intel, or Hewlett-Packard technologies, might have been extended, and that they were actually increasing the contract value to, I think it was about $9 or $10 billion. So an increase of about $2 to $3 billion in the value of that deal. And they just reported that in their earnings. Not only that, but, and we know that they've been building that. That was a big news, right? This big data center in North Dakota. And why is that good? Because it's in a cold place. It's like very easy to, keep it cold. They have liquid cooling systems, but they came out with their financials yesterday. Now, there's a lot more articles than when we first started covering. We see a lot more kind of hype, right? A lot more. So just watch out for those. They don't really mean a whole lot. Like there's some that are good, but what did we have come in yesterday? Well, they came in with earnings, revenue over 50 million with their net income. They narrowed it down there in the last quarter. Their revenue is up 22% year over year with net profit margins up 42%. And this is the other thing. Their balance sheet grew from 1.5 billion to 1.7 billion, so up 200 million, with their liabilities growing a little bit less than that, about 190 million. So they were able to increase their total assets now year over year by 165% and their total liabilities by just 130, which means their assets are good. They're seeing more cash influx and the financials are starting to heat up. So with the financials looking the way they're doing, there is this quote we were going over this morning, and I want to bring it into the conversation. We do quotes every morning in the StockMate community, and one of the quotes here is, here we are. It was a thinking man feels compelled to approach all life with the same reverence he has for his own. So in other words, you can't have a really good attitude or help people improve their attitude if you don't have a good attitude. Or you can't give people good investment advice unless you have good investments. Or how many of you guys have heard of, like, you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on others, things like that. Like, you have to first feel good, confident about yourself before you can help someone else feel confident, things like that. Or you have to believe in yourself before others will believe in you, things like that. So why is that important? What does that relate to with APLD? So basically, they have this deal that they got with CoreWeave. In order for their stock to grow, they have to demonstrate growth. And this is when you get into a trade or an investment that lacks integrity. You invest in something that is going up or is pumping for no reason. Not always I'm not saying you do that, but I'm saying investors do that. But I'm saying this right here, when the financials come in good, it's like a law of physics, right? It's like cause and effect. When the total assets come up, 1.7 billion, and when the AI boom is here and you see an increased demand for AI, then companies like Applied Digital here that is building data centers, they're doing the construction of the data centers. What does it mean when all of these new initiatives from big tech and Apple earnings today? We got Apple. I was just looking at our earnings here in StockMate. If you ever want the targets, again, it's the second link in the description. We're just talking about today. You got Apple, you got Amazon. What are all the big tech companies talking about? Meta. Why did Meta make more? Or why did Microsoft crush earnings recently? Does anybody know Microsoft's earnings, why they crushed it? Or Meta earnings growth? Their revenue was up 18% year over year. Both companies investing billions. So all tech companies, but billions in AI infrastructure. So why does that tie in? Because if they are going to need infrastructure, cause and effect, we come in, they're investing billions in AI. And also, by the way, Microsoft Azure came in with a lot of revenue. And part of the reason why we focus on that is because recently they added the quantum computers, Rigetti, Quantinuum, IonQ, to Microsoft Azure. So we'll get into that another time. But all these companies, they need data centers, and Applied Digital is the one that is making it happen for NVIDIA or Dell or Intel or whoever. And so that is why we see their stock absolutely rocket 35%. Because here's the other thing. They got about 1.7 billion in assets, and their revenue seems to be increasing, but you see their market cap's only about 3 billion. Now the other day we were looking at it, was 1.9. It's getting up there now, 3 billion. If they're securing deals that are worth, like we said, 7 to 9 billion, and they're in this growing market, then wouldn't it make sense that we would see their market cap reflect that? That's what's happening. So institutional interest is really starting to cook up there for APLD. We've been covering it a while because of its institutional attracting value. That's something we really do focus on here on the channel. And Another thing to note, increased positions up to 175 with decreased positions lower. You got BlackRock in there pretty heavy along with Vanguard. This is direct from NASDAQ here. And then you got State Street and you got Morgan Stanley and Charles Schwab investing in the company. So institutions move the market here. Not always do they move the market, but definitely they are moving the market here. Huge up from when we basically had our recent long-term entry about 40%, which is tremendous. So when we're looking at APLD stock now, it's at this resistance. It kind of got rejected for a brief moment there up to that $14 range. We're going to look now at this new level of resistance. So there is a resistance level right here. You can see that previous support. Zoom in here. You got previous support here. Right here, you got previous resistance. And that is extending out here. So now we're looking for this. And we're looking also at a level here, kind of getting up into this range. This $14 resistance for sure. But now we got a support here. $13.15 is the next support. And then if that doesn't hold, a pretty strong support around $12.68 actually. Let's see. Maybe it might be a little bit lower than that. Kind of, we could call it right here. Looks like that's going to be, yep, right there. That resistance and resistance, previous support there. Get some consolidation right here. This 1250. And so we see it continue up. This was actually what we watched initially here this morning. It was like, I was up really late last night, but I wasn't up till 3, but it was getting close. And we saw it pull back down here until 5 a.m. And then we saw it validate that support and then continue to rocket up to $14. So really glad that there were some stock mates that were able to catch this, and YouTube, as I mentioned, that YouTube video I just showed yesterday. We were kind of pointing out these moves over the last few weeks. But again, it doesn't matter. I'll say it again. If you buy the top or if you buy the bottom, what matters is that you have a plan. We could look at the RSI. We can look at the MACD all day. We could look at the institutional buying. We can look at the financials, the news. But what do we know is the most important thing is going to be executing a plan. When you see it rocket up to $14, you do have to be careful because we just went up 36%. Just from a psychological perspective, you could see some sell downs. But again, it just matters that you manage risk. So short term, really want to have a plan together, whether it's, making sure that just on that short term, you manage risk, especially with tariffs getting 100% like implemented tomorrow. So the company or the countries that don't have the deals, like we got deals with EU, Japan, UK, with the USA, South Korea, they secured agreements for tariffs. There's no major deals with Mexico, Canada, or China right now, and that could hit the market as that's going into effect tomorrow on those tariffs. So just keep it in mind when you have a big surge recently in the market. Not that there will be, but have an idea or be ready for a pullback on the short term. And then the long term, of course, we're looking to continue to add to those positions. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and hopefully this was helpful for you. If I earned your thumbs up, smash the like button. Again, if you'd like to join us in our daily live trading sessions, they happen Monday through Friday. We have a session tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time, 9:30 Eastern time, where you get an email every morning right in your inbox, and it takes you to a private live session, and you get to see our entries and our exits in the markets and how we trade stocks on a consistent basis. And I'll even send you a free t-shirt when you join. The other thing to consider though is the monthly is coming back. So with the lifetime access, you actually get access to StockMate on a continual basis, recurring Monday through Friday, without having to worry about having to pay monthly. So again, ongoing Monday through Friday without having to pay monthly. So like recurring, that's something that we're for a limited time having. We have a new model we kind of implemented, so just keep that in mind for StockMate. So simply take a look. It's the second link in the description down below. Thanks so much for watching. Again, do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.